Okay, today we'll talk about our first 12-week cycle of 2026 for powerlifting and weightlifting. So it's very important to know the core components as far as the program. It's high frequency, high volume. You will need a sufficient calories to keep up with the volume. You will need to focus on sleep and recovery. Looking at the big picture, the amount of weeks work, not just the day. Okay, so for RPE based, start around like 7-8 RPE the most. Increase each week. This is gonna be 12 weeks, so the focus is you gotta train explosive, not slow and sticky. It's a given that at some point of the program that bar speed is gonna slow down. That's pretty much towards like the end. Okay, so the end of the fourth week, the 8th week, and obviously on our realization phase. So now do not overreach. Monitor your fatigue, your recovery. More is not always better. Train to get strong, not train to get hurt, pretty much. So look at it this way, like in a form of fighting. Okay, if you're training for a fight, 12 weeks later, right? But you and your training partner is beating each other up and knocking each other's head off. Each training session, in sparring session. Basically, what's going to happen at the end during fight day? Most likely you're going to be beat up. That's not how to train. So a good way is think practice all your lifts, and pick and choose your battle. Lower down the frequency if you have to. Not everybody's like in that tip-top shape. If you can't handle the volume, you got to be real with yourself and talk to me, and so we could adjust it. Don't beat yourself up. Training, it is one of the most stressful part of your day. We want a comfortable heavy, something challenging, but not too challenging to a point like our form is going out the window. Basically, those are like knockout punch and stuff that you're taking. So imagine that, how you're gonna perform at the end. So now, as far as adding 5 to 10 pounds each week, doesn't always apply to every lift. 2.5 pounds sometimes for some. Not all lifts are equal. Adding 5 to 10 under 100 pounds is pretty much unrealistic. If you have a less than 100 pound 1 RM, maybe you just gotta add like a pound or two to progress. So look at the big picture, like I said. Now, as far as rest time, let's talk about rest time. I see this a lot, like especially in powerlifting. People take like 3 to 5 minute rest. Okay, if you're doing like a repeated effort, obviously, like if you're doing like 5 sets of 5, I give personally, 2 minutes or less, 90 seconds. Okay, if you can't, if you basically try to rest longer just to complete that 5 sets of 5, most likely it's too hard. Okay. So don't rest too long for the sake of like completing it. 5 sets of 5 doesn't necessarily mean that you need to complete all 5. You could do it at 5 reps, 5 reps, 5 reps, and then now you're gauging, you're monitoring your fatigue, right? Oh, I'm just gonna like do 4, or else my form is gonna go out the window. Then do 3, and then next week redo it again. Don't put more weight. It's okay. Okay, so progressive overload is not always adding weight to the bar. Okay, so now when you're managing your rest time and also completing your set, then that's the following week, and you complete all those sets, the X amount of reps that are required for those sets, then that's progress. Okay, that's part of progressive overload. You know, like resting shorter, that's part of progressive overload. It's not about just adding weight to that bar. So yeah, so when we're doing dynamic effort, like same thing, you know, a minute rest or so. When you're doing a top set to a drop set, usually it's based off RPE. It's not a maximal lift, you know, right? It's a sub-maximal weight. Okay, so you don't need to rest too long in between your top to drop. You know, hit your top set, take out the weight, hit it again. You know, let's say it requires 2 sets of 5 at 10% off your heaviest 5 of the day. Then yeah, 10 to 30 seconds, hit it. As far as like max effort, we're not gonna be doing that till later on down the line, you know, in the program. Then, you know, obviously, you warm up, get all your warm up done, you get to your last warm up, and then, okay, rest anywhere between 2 to 5 minutes or so, and then hit your top set for your max. So, like I said, that doesn't apply right now, okay? So usually, like the first week is the hardest week. And you know, a lot of people will get sore, obviously, because you're doing more reps, and people get pretty sore. If you've been doing it for a while, you should know that already. So now, regulate. Like I said, self-regulation is key. Okay. Now, as far as like those pauses, I'd rather see somebody take. Personally, I'd rather see somebody take a longer pause rather than a shorter pause. Okay, if I ask for 5 seconds, like take that 5 seconds. You know, maybe squeeze in a little bit more if you can. You know, right? It's just gonna make you stronger. You know, a lot of times people focus too much on weight. I don't know what it is. Like maybe try to impress the room or their ego. Guess what? And then they slap or they have this ideal weight, but they can't pause it for that long. So, remember, okay, if you're pausing, basically, excuse me, it's not going to allow you to go as heavy, but it will solidify that position, okay? Now, that's key, okay? As far as like deadlift goes, sometimes know your position. If I ask for 2-inch or at the knee, you know where it's at. Most of the time when we ask for 2-inch pause, 2-inch off the floor, people tend to lift too high, okay? Usually that 2-inch right there, that's where the bar gets away from your center of gravity. And you're no longer in that, you know, it's no longer in your favor as far as the lift. So you want to strengthen that area, keeping that bar closed, right? So be aware of that, okay? So now for like EMOMs, a lot of times, you know, there is, I say like work up if you can, work up to a certain percentage. Doesn't necessarily apply to everybody, okay? So now, if you need something like you need to work on, like for example, a jerk or a snatch, okay, and it's kind of wonky, a good way is stay within that percentage and stay there and practice it. Think about like you're hitting a target, okay? You're about 5 yards away from your target. Are you hitting that bullseye? Okay? If it's all over the place, what made you think that you backing up a little farther will get you to will get you to hit that bullseye again? Most common, what's gonna happen is basically you're gonna miss your target. So basically, the farther you go away from the target, okay, which is heavier you go, right? Guess what? The chances are basically your form will go out the window. So think about it. If you need to work on something, know your strengths and weaknesses. Everybody got a weakness. Everybody got something to work on, okay? Which lift is that? Okay? Be a sharpshooter, okay? Staying like within that 5 yards, okay? And practice it will get you better before you back up, before you add weight. Okay? A lot of times, like I said, self-awareness, self-discipline, and the one that have that, basically the one that's gonna be really good at this thing. Okay? They're gonna be fucking great. So now, one of the things, like, don't just come in just to do it. Don't just do it to do it. I say this all the time. A lot of times people are like, oh, I just want to come in and work out. Blah, 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 blah. No, you gotta know how to approach it. I don't want to like think about it. Blah, blah, blah. No, part of lifting, right? You gotta, like, for you to master it, it does involve using your brain and reading and like your approach. Okay, got it? Don't just do it to do it. Okay, a lot of times I just want to put some weight on the bar. So guess what? What kind of listen to that. Okay, it doesn't sound very like for a person that wants to improve. Okay, got it? There's a lot more into lifting. Okay, that's all I got for that. So thank you very much.